Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be looking at Crit's Lion gameplay. Lion's a very picked hero. A lot of people pick this hero, and right now he's considered to be one of the best position forwards. But the thing is, if you don't really know what you're doing on Lion, he's not that good of a team fighter. His laning stage is pretty good, but he has long cooldowns. And so today I'm going to show you why Lion is a good hero and what you need to do to make that happen. But briefly before we do, I just want to let you know about 3 website videos I just made. 3 videos I'm very proud of, and videos that will help you get to your next rank. In particular, I made an ILTW new Ursa build video. So if you're looking to play Ursa, learn some tips about the safe lane, how to become a better dead lane safe lane player. If you're confused what that even means, you should go sign up to the website, check out that video. On top of that, I made a video which is really funny. It was a great time where I watched a Herald match and did a replay analysis on that. And finally, last but not least, yes, this is all on the website, all fresh content, not going to come to YouTube. I made a Legend Luna replay analysis. So one of my students played a Luna game. I've been talking with him a lot about farming rotations, farming patterns, how to make moves around the map, how to use Ment properly and better. And that video is going to be posted to the website as well. So if you're interested in any of those videos, they're going to be there. Also, a lot of supporter content and offlane content coming as well. So go click the link down below, subscribe today, it really is worth it, and I'll see you guys there. Alright, so let's start it off with the laning stage. The first thing I want to do to teach you guys about Lion and how to become a good support player is to count how many auto attacks he throws in the first 2 minutes of the lane. Now, you're probably about to expect to watch him throw 20, 30 auto attacks, absolutely pop off, go nuts. But in reality, what he's going to do is not much. Now, I'd like to talk about the reasons why that's the case. Number 1, we gotta start with Lion's stats, okay? This hero is very slow at 290 movement speed, very slow, it's mediocre armor, and in general, it only really trades well around its stun cooldown. Now, he doesn't even throw his stun very much. Why is this, guys, okay? We need to take a look at the lane and understand this. This is how you become good at Dota. You have to adapt your gameplay based on the heroes around you. If you play the same way on every hero, every lane, you're just not going to ever get anywhere close to Immortal. You just won't. So when this lane is against Disruptor Gyro, what do we think about that? High pressure, lot of damage. A Gyro Rocket plus a Disruptor Q will do basically half HP on its own, let alone the fact that Disruptor has really good auto attacks and attack range. His Q gives basically constant auto attacks because it gives vision, and then Rocket stuns as well. And so in this lane, you'll even see that Crit to some extent, he even sort of makes a mistake here. They might have had a ward on him. I'm not exactly sure what it was. But you can see he's not doing much. He didn't throw out any auto attacks. Why? Because he knows if he does, Mipushka and Yataro, the Gyro and the Disruptor, are going to beat him up. And so the only time he approached was to try to secure the range creep. That was literally the only time. And it's funny, you can tell it's a professional match of the best players in the world. People don't see this stuff, but it's the best players in the world because the second he walks up, Mipushka and Yataro collapse on him. And what ends up happening because of that, he takes about 3/4 of his HP pool. Pretty rough. Imagine if he got caught out auto-attacking and didn't back up immediately, he would have died. And so that goes to show why you have to adapt. Against these good players, you're just going to feed. On top of that, he's with a Timber. How much pressure does Timber put at level 1? Sometimes a decent amount with Chain, but as I said, this lane does a lot of damage. Inherently, it's a high damage lane, and so chaining around will simply put him out of position and likely get him killed. And so I like what Crit does, and what he does is not a lot. Next up, all you really do in these type of lanes is mess with pulls. It's really important to understand this. Whenever you have a self-sufficient offlaner that doesn't put too much pressure early on, you just want to really just set up side pulls, stack the side pull, and most importantly, block the small cam. You don't always have to block it with the sentry. It's really easy to deward nowadays, and it's not expensive. But it is good to pay attention to the pull timer to at least sap the XP, which is what we see here. Unfortunately, once again, it's a high armor game. Gyro is going to contest him, but he's going to be at least in XP range to sap the entirety of the wave, which is a big deal. The next thing you need to do is identify whether or not your lane needs your help. You also need to identify whether or not mid needs help with runes. In this match in particular, TA Storm, the runes are a very integral part of the lane. Storm also in general is a hero that expends a lot of resources, especially against TA, to try to trade and secure CS. So I love the fact that Crit, he saps level 3 off the small camp that's been pulled for like the 8th time in a row, saps that level 3, heads over to the water rune just to contest it, right? And when he sees a fight breaking out, he can shift over, right? And so he's going to end up walking over, sap a little bit of meta XP, And because of that, he's going to get a kill into the Tiny. It was also a nice rotation by Fly. But the big point I'm trying to make here is that even though it might seem like a really basic play, and it sort of is, at the same time, even though it's a basic play, what we want to note is the fact that he's playing in the right lane. What does he do with Timber? He could pressure Gyro. He could. But as I said earlier with Rocket Barrage, it's not really a good option. Gyro's quite good against Timber, and so it wouldn't do too much. Instead, he can shift to the mid lane, force a ton of rotations, and give the Timber a 1v1 against Gyro, which is actually quite favorable. I don't like this matchup necessarily when there's a support, because then Gyro can he can kite around with the support, but in a Timber 1v1, you can easily stay in the wave, you won't ever get forced off of it, and you can chill. The next set of movements that he makes are really clean. Number one, he buys an Observer Ward. As the position 4 guys, a lot of people don't buy obs. They just don't. People are so against Observer Wards. It's insane. If you are a position 4 roaming hero, let me ask you a question. Are you going to be moving around the map the most? Out of all 5 heroes on your team, if you were the roamer, are you going to move around the most? Of course. So why would you not take the wards? It makes no sense. Like, I can't believe Dota has not shifted and like the main sentiment has not shifted to the fact that the position 4 largely should be the one carrying the wards in Dota. Sounds pretty crazy, right? But I really believe that. You know, in this case, Fly is with him, but he gets down a deep ward for his team. And in your usual pub, is a Phoenix position 5 going to be here at this time of the game? I don't know. Probably not, right? And so if he wants to set up onto a kill on Gyro later on, which makes a lot of sense, Gyro's a very gankable safe laner for Storm Spirit and Timber. A lot of magical damage counters to Gyro, and so they can make that play. And now, next up, keeping it simple, he could have ran at top, could have pressured the tower, or he can get to level 6. A level 4 Lion is useful if you have like high DPS cores, and they sort of do, you know, Timber and Storm, but at the same time, you really just want level 6. You really, really do. Your hero is completely different. All of a sudden, you go from like just a control bot to an insta-kill, and it's super key. And so please guys, AFK more in your pubs. I literally love the fact, I mean, I think this is a big reason why AG is one of the best teams in the world. Abed is jungling neutral camps in the enemy jungle. He's jungling the enemy jungle. Now you're probably saying in your pubs like, Speed, this doesn't happen. Mid laners roam all the time. They make moves around the map all the time. They're constantly doing things. There's always some amount of space if you're good enough at identifying the wave quick enough. In some of my recent coaching sessions, in different brackets by the way, I've had the same issue with all of my students, which is they're very slow and struggle to identify the creep wave that they need to push in, where the nearest by creep wave is. And this not only slows down their farm, it also, most importantly, slows down their levels, which is the most important thing for support. And in this clip here, obviously because he did sap those levels, he can now have Finger and has the option to explode the Gyrocopter. Alright, so the next thing that Crit does well is he preemptively sets up on lanes. What I mean by this is typically support players just walk around. Really guys, like, go watch a pub, go watch your own replay. Most people just, they just walk around. If you want to get kills, and you're a setup hero, the best thing you can do is walk to the furthest pushed out wave. So let's say for instance this bottom wave was here. What they could do is smoke from Roshan to bottom. That play in particular would most likely work because not only is it the furthest in wave so they feel the safest, also if they hear you take Roshan, they're going to assume bot is safe, right? And so that's a very high likelihood play. Now Crit obviously doesn't want to do that here. His team's not even looking to make a play right away, but you can see just chilling in the trees. Just chilling in the trees. A lot of people chill and they wait and because there's nothing to do, but you should chill next to waves, especially when you have a blink dagger like this. You want to stay off the map, out of vision. You do not want to push in waves at this point in the game as a hero like Lion, unless your team is dead and there's no play to be made, then you can do it. But for the most part, you're staying out of vision, in trees, completely hiding, not looking to do anything. But you can see, I love what EG does. They're always doing these like advanced bait plays. I really mean that. These pro players are very creative in terms of their movements. They try to read movements. So right here, Ice and Fly are showing mid. And with this Lion Storm, they know why they have a lot of jump. They have a lot of burst damage. And so what EG does is they bait mid, they show the Timber mid, trying to give the enemy team a bit of security, some confidence to go top and push out the wave, and then look for a pickoff. Now, I think they end up scanning. Yeah, they actually find this TA. If they were a little bit more patient, maybe they would have gotten that TA kill. There's a chance, definitely a chance for it to be possible. But nonetheless, because they saw the TA TP top, they immediately go mid. Once again, just always paying attention to numbers advantages and so on. That's exactly what we see here. And they get a decent punish. And for the last clip of the game, I want to talk about a jump he makes in this 29-minute mark team fight that allows his PL to stay in position. I think this is really important because, guys, if I was to ask you, like, what is the best target for the line to jump this game? I think everyone would answer, and rightfully so, would answer TA, Gyro, Mars, one of the cores, right? Typically, the high DPS squishy cores tend to be the best jumps in Dota when it comes to late game team fights. Supports are good as well if they're like save supports, you know, the counter initiation heroes that can make other jumps poor. Obviously that's an option as well, like Oracle, these type of heroes. But in a game like this, the enemy team, they don't have save supports. And so whoever you go on is gonna get gone on, and therefore typically you'd want to jump a Gyro or TA if you could burst them. Now, EG, their burst is okay. It's alright. It's not the best. It's solid, right? Timber's decent, PL isn't really burst, Storm is okay, but look at this jump. The reason why I like this jump is there is a very, very tempting opportunity to blink and try to triple stun these three heroes. And I do believe that this is what most people would do, but the problem with that is it would force his team to run into this. Think about it. Why does PL not want to run into this? Because if we look at his current items, he does not have a way to get out of Disruptor ulti. There's a chance if he gets Disruptor ulti, he simply just dies. He doesn't want to do that. Also, running into Gyro in general is not good because you get stuck in cooldown and you can't move. And so I love this jump because instead of going for the greedy 3-man stun, he simply gets a clean hex out onto the tiny, stuns, right? It's a nice disengage stun. He doesn't even overcommit on the stun. In general, you could see EG, they're trying to avoid walking into the enemy team, walking into Team Spirit, which is what you want to do, right? Against these type of heroes. If you walk into them, you will inevitably get stuck in an arena, stuck in a cooldown, stuck in, most importantly, Disruptor ulti. And so they don't overcommit. They slowly but surely chip down this tiny. The tiny set of spells don't really do anything. They allow the Timber to go in first, which is what they need to do. If Timber does not go in first, and let's say, for instance, Arteezy goes in first, they will commit everything on Arteezy to try to burst him. However, if Timber goes in first, he can live the burst and give the vision needed, and that's exactly what happens. The vision that's needed is given. He gets a nice hex onto the TA while his team is now able to follow it up. Because vision has been granted, right? They've done a good job of getting down this vision. How do they even have this? Did Fly die for a ward? All right, and because Fly eggs on the hill, now they get vision of Miposhka, and because Miposhka has been scouted, there's really no threat of a good Disruptor ulti. And when I say a good Disruptor ulti, it's a Disruptor ulti that can be followed up by BKB cores, right? Because if Team Spirit can use their BKBs in coordination with the Disruptor ulti, they don't have the capability then to burst who's in the Disruptor ulti. And because of the hex onto the TA and the early BKB from Gyro that he had to use, it's a disastrous fight for Team Spirit. And so really what Crit did well there is he didn't bait his team in. Most supports just bait their team in for bad kills. Initiators in general, really, we all go for the greedy core kill, and then what ends up happening is you make your team clump up on some really tanky hero and get absolutely slammed by AoE spells. And yeah, that's why I thought that clip is like this really, it's like a really advanced point of Dota, even if it seems simple. Like those type of decisions change the game. And by the way, I'm not trying to say you can't ever jump like a core. For instance, EG, they don't have a single BKB, not one. And so they really want to play this kitey around the fights Dota. They don't want to just like barrel in with BKBs and try to guarantee a kill. That's not what the items do. Their items sustain them. They have sustain items, a ton of mana regen, right? Bloodstone Orchid, a ton of mana regen, but not sustainable. Same thing with the PL. Yeah, pretty sustainable. Sanjin Yasha Hood Scotty, to be fair, but it's not a BKB, right? The PL usually plays kitey in the first place, so I kind of like the fact that they itemize around that. And yeah, it's a beautiful jump that coordinates with their heroes. And hopefully that's interesting to you guys. But alright, that's going to be all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it was a bit on the shorter end, I think. And if you want me to talk about a different hero, comment which hero I should do a replay analysis of next, or which player I should do a replay analysis of next. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. And that's all. But remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the GameLeap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.